I don't hear it, JJ.
Really? You don't hear
I
anything?
don't hear anything.
You don't hear anything? You didn't hear
today.
anything?
No, I don't.
Of course you
Wish I
can't.
could
Of
do
course
it
you
and
don't.
sing it for you, baby.
Of course you don't. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. We are confused. You don't even know. Oh, I know why you didn't hear that, because somehow the new thing is on the wrong audio deal.
It's a brand new experience for us this morning.
We're both utterly and completely confused.
So good morning. Yes. So what has happened is the service that we use to run everything. The reason we're late is the service we use to run everything is completely changed everything on us. Just brand new this morning. So we're having to learn as we go.
Yeah. We both logged in and we were like, okay, put on the screen. Oh, I'm not on the screen. There's no Deke. There's no JJ. And we were like, what's going on? What's happening?
So it's a nice little learning curve. But good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? Great weekend. We went to we call it the hanging of the green last night. It's a thing we do at our church where we have a service where we all decorate the church, and we hang the lights, the tree, the ornaments, all of that stuff. And my family did this wreath on one side of the wall. So we got up at the end of the service and we went and hang the wreath, and then we hang it and then have to plug it in to make sure that it's like all going to work. And then they finish the thing. And at the end, they bring all the lights up. And as they were about to bring all the lights up, I was like, man, I hope I didn't mess that up. And I didn't be the one that had the dark section of the church. And the lights come on, and I look over and our lights are on, and I look over at the other side of the building and somebody's lights are off. And I said to my wife, I was like, Cass, our lights are on and their lights are, and she said to me, like, and I said, what did I say? I said, I'm so glad our lights came on. I was afraid they were going to come off. And she was like, somebody's did, but it wasn't us. So we were both thinking exactly the same thing.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So that's kind of the big thing that we did this morning. Good morning, Duncan. That must be David on our on our Discord. It's so great that thing's working. Well, at least something's working around here. So we logged into Restream, and I guess I did something, and neither of our cameras worked. So we have to do this other version of it, and everything's confused. So
yeah, it's the brand new version, and it works. So yeah. So there we go. Yeah. All right. So good morning. I am going to continue. Well, first of all, do you have our title card? Do you want to show our title card?
Oh,
since we didn't get to show our wonderful title card.
I have no idea how to do that now.
I do.
Here we go.
Yeah, I started to say we can. Yeah, that's it.
Today's episode is the long kiss goodnight. Yeah. And there's we have some other news. Disney's bombing. They should go into defense industry. They're bombing so hard. And we got some other news, so we'll talk about that. And now that explains our names, because I am the Catman, you are the Star Child. So Star Child is Stanley, right? That's Stanley.
Uh-huh.
I've passed my music test for the day.
Who's Catman? Who would I be?
Not Gene Simmons. He's the demon.
Gene Simmons is the demon.
Yeah.
And then there's the Spaceman and the Catman.
One of those guys is a spaceman.
Yeah.
Okay. I know two Kiss songs. I guess Catman's got the whiskers, right?
Yeah. Ace Frehley's the spaceman. Catman's Peter Criss. He's the drummer. So that would be the drummer. I'm a drummer. Peter Criss. Get it? There's some subliminal messaging there for people that know me.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I am not a massive Kiss fan, but I will say this: there's obviously the biggest Kiss song ever, which currently I'm blanking on.
I want to rock and roll all night and part of every day.
Yeah. And then the one that I have great affection for is because I think it was in the end of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, or maybe the second one. It was like the not Rock and Roll All Night, but man, I was just listening to it a second ago.
I don't remember that one off the top of my head. I don't remember a Kiss song being in the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I thought it was a Kiss song. Hang on. Sure. God gave rock and roll to you.
Oh yeah, God gave rock and roll. Yeah, that's right. It is a Kiss song. God gave rock and roll to you.
Sorry.
My favorite Kiss songs would probably be I love the beginning of Detroit Rock City. That's just that's just freaking awesome. But my favorite Kiss song is probably Beth.
Morning, David.
Dave says Detroit Rock City. Yeah, he knew. All right. I like this over here. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll show
keep chatting,
exactly
Dave.
the two people that talk to us every day. That will embarrass us even further. That's great, JJ. Thank you.
You guys can come chat too. Yeah.
Okay, so hey, look, there's Do Good. Let's put the X in sex. Never mind. That must be a different movie.
Oh my.
All right. So my favorite. Oh no, we're not doing morning, guys. Morning. We're not doing Kiss. I didn't put a Kiss song up on our Discord server on the day over there. So if you want to go over to our Discord server and get Deke's song of the day, expand your music mind, and listen to the whole playlist on our Discord server. I'm continuing with one hit wonders this week, and these might not actually be true one hit wonders this week. We might have some that have had a couple of hits in the top 20, whatnot, but they didn't stay around very long. It just depends on if I put some of these. But this one song today, I ran across this on the playlist this morning, and I thought, oh my God, I love this song. I've got a great memory for this song, and a lot of people don't remember this song. The song today comes from a British kind of an Indian indie rock band called Corner Shop, and the song is called Brimful of Asha, and it is a freaking great song we used to listen to all the time in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's so fun. It's upbeat. You get into the music, you start jamming, you start singing along with them, and I got a great story that goes along with this song. We went down to when the band Fish performed and January 30th, 31st, and December 30th, 31st, and January 1st of 1999 to 2000, and down in Florida, in the middle of the Seminole Indian Reservation that's in the middle of the Florida Everglades. There was like a square mile of campers and tents and hippies and people, and that's what we did, and we were all there for Fish concerts. They put on a couple of shows one day, another show another day, a couple of shows another day, and then at midnight on January 1st, 2000, they played from midnight to 6 a.m., a 6-hour show, constant. And It was great. Awesome. There was like 150,000 people there. My ticket number was like 82,000 or something. So we drove all the way down to Florida.
Moses. Oh my God.
When we got down to close to probably about 10 miles from the Alligator Alley. If you don't know, Florida goes down. There's one main road that goes down the left side of Florida, one main road that goes down the right side of Florida. And right down at the bottom, near the bottom, there's a road that connects both of those roads. And that road goes through the Everglades, and it's called Alligator Alley. And we were about 10 miles from Alligator Alley when we got stuck in traffic. We were stuck in traffic for nearly 7 hours to go about 10 miles, 20 miles. We were stuck in traffic for about 7 hours. All right. And I talked to a girl that was stuck in traffic for 13. Anyway, just trying to paint this.
How many hours?
We were stuck in traffic for 7 hours. She was stuck in traffic. She said they were for 13 hours.
Oh my God, dude. Hours.
To get into this place that we were stuck in traffic to, and all the traffic was to get into the Fish show.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
And this is in Florida. The worst thing about Florida is that you're stuck in your car because you get out of your car to go pee in the woods, and you're going to probably get eaten by a crocodile or alligator.
There were several times when we could look over in the ditch and see little alligators in the ditch because our buddy Swami was pointing them out. There were 3 of us in this Jeep that was packed down, and we were sitting there. So here's the story. So we're sitting there in traffic, a bunch of hippies, and we're smelling and dirty and whatnot. And people are just kind of walking along, and you can see people going and peeing and doing stuff and whatnot. And people are just walking along. And we're jamming to this song, Brimful of Asha. And we've got it jamming, and we've got it turned up, and we're like, Brimful of Asha. And, we're just kind of having fun in the little Jeep there, trying to break the monotony. And this hippie dude walks by. And he gets to about the front of the Jeep and he stops. And he takes about 3 steps back and he puts his hands on the window and he starts sitting there just jamming with us. And when that song was over, he was like, "Awesome song, brother," and took off walking. And I've never seen that guy before. Ever. And we still talk about that guy every time we hear this song and we're together. I'm like, "You remember that hippie dude that stopped and jammed to this song with us?" And he's like, "Yep." So this is a great song. It brings back some good memories for me. So check out Corner Shop Brimful Flash are over there in our Discord server on for our song of the day.
Okay. All right. So the reason we have a Kiss titled show today is not because of our song of the day thing. I didn't give Deke enough time to even pick out some Kiss songs, so he just had to talk about what he knew anyway. But there was a story over the weekend where Kiss actively saying farewell at Madison Square Garden before passing the torch to the band's Avatar successors. I think they've been retiring since 1983, and they've made a very lucrative career out of retiring from being Kiss.
I think if it wasn't for Gene Simmons, the other guys would have been retired back in a long time ago.
Right. But here's the thing. Gene Simmons likes money. And
Gene Simmons doesn't like money. He is infatuatedly love. If he was Scrooge McDuck, he would dive into his money and swim around in it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how much he loves money.
Gene Simmons is like a Harry Potter's goblin with money.
He's a Gringotts goblin. You are exactly right. That's what a Gringotts goblin
loves money. So there's no chance whatsoever that he's just going to be like, I'm fine. I'm done. We're hanging this up. No way. He's like, oh, I'm too old to tour. I'm like 100 years old. I'm too old to tour. We're going to put cartoon Kiss people up on screen. People are going to watch that. So,
people will. I
can't believe this, dude. I don't get it. I know they will. And I don't understand it.
But no, I'll tell you why. This is why. A buddy of mine who was a band dad, he was an old drummer friend of mine, and he's a band dad, and so we knew each other very close already, and we would talk and stuff during all the competitions. And this year he was taking his son, who was also a drummer, friends with my son, and they were going to a Kiss show. I don't remember where, somewhere close, Nashville or St. Louis or somewhere. And when he come back, I was like, "How was it?" And he's like, "Oh, it's awesome, blah, blah, blah." And I got another buddy that's a big Kiss fan that's seen him 2 or 3 times, and they all the Kiss fans say the same thing about the show. It's the music, but it's not the music. It's the show. It's the put on the show. It's the reason you would go. It's the reason you would have a good time when you take your daughters to if you take your daughters to a Taylor Swift show. They're like, "My daughters really want to go. I got to take them. They're 10, 12, whatever years old." And you go and you end up going, "Well, that was a pretty good show." You know, it was. You know. Yeah. I've been to shows like that I'm like, I really don't care about this band. And I'm like, oh, wow, that is a good band. JJ, no. Where did you go? JJ disappeared. All right. So I don't know where we were getting at. So Kiss, they're going virtual, though. That's Gene Simmons' mindset. Gene Simmons will put the Kiss logo on anything and everything he can to keep that money going. So this was, it was kind of, I see you. It was kind of expected.
Okay. I mean, you get the idea that Kiss is going to retire. And immediately I was like, no, they're not. The dude's not going to retire. He'll probably sell tickets to his funeral.
Sinister Minister said, you're exactly right. Sinister Minister said in our other chat, he said he saw them on their final tour about 10 years ago. I kind of remember that, when you say the final tour, I kind of remember that. Yeah, that's right. They did have a final tour.
All right. We got some other interesting news. First of all, Deke, let me just say before we talk about news stories today, I woke up this morning, I was a little groggy because I was up late last night coding and watching Citadel. And but I was
You were watching coding. What? You're kind of scratching a little bit.
Oh, great. Of course I am. So I'm watching this show called Citadel on Prime, but I was up late, like till like 1 a.m. last night, just writing code, working on my secret project thing. And so I woke up groggy this morning, and I was like, I got to get up and get some stories. And I look up and I'm like, let's check the news. And it's like, oh, woman shakes baby to death, and like guy gets stabbed in New York. And I'm like, fuck this news this morning. Horrible people doing awful things. So I was like, let's find some other.
You now know the stress of a newsroom now when you're watching like the 6 a.m. news or something, and they're like,
yeah,
there's a cow over on Highway 45 if you're going down. It's like, oh, it's a slow news day.
Yeah,
because I have seriously. I have 10 minutes that I'm supposed to have 15 minutes. I personally condensed that down to 10 minutes of news without telling anybody about 10 years ago, and no one said a word. So I have 10 minutes of news to fill along with my commercials, my sponsors. So my sponsors take up a chunk of time. So I have that other chunk of time, but then I have guys that are doing sports clips and stuff like that. So sometimes sometimes you're struggling to find the new, you're reading. Yeah, you got to fill that time with something.
It wasn't so much that it was like filling. It was just like, let me just take a survey of the stuff that's happening this weekend. And it was just like depressing.
I know it is. It's kind of awful. It was depressing. Some interesting stuff to talk about.
We do have
not a lot of political stuff.
No, I mean,
you want to hit all that stuff first?
Nah, not really. Not really. Though, not really. Let's see. I want to talk about this entertainment stuff because we got a couple of Disney stories. We got and then 10 Disney. Yeah, Bob story. A Disney adjacent story with Florence Pugh. And we got something about Terrence Gilliam. So we're gonna check that stuff out. And you know what? You have an update from Supernatural alumni. So let's start with. Let's start with this because I read this headline and I chuckled and I was like, wow, that was fast. Here, please, new restream. Let me actually do my job.
Throw the comments off.
Yeah, chat. You guys will be back later.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The Marvels ends box office run as the lowest grossing MCU movie in history.
Wait a minute. I've got the perfect app for this. I've got the perfect app. I hadn't got to use this in forever. Hang on.
Oh, really?
This is just for Marvel. Oh, and the phone's ringing. Here you go.
Oh, sad trombone. So the shocking thing to me is that the Marvels sequel to $1 billion movie, and the high hopes of the Marvel Wokies ends its theatrical run. It's not ending its theatrical run, but I'll get to it in a second. But after 4 weeks, Marvel's just like, we give up. Listen to this. After 4 weeks on the big screen, the comic book tentpole is running out of steam with $80 million in North America and 197 globally. This movie cost like $300 million. It had to make like $700 million to even break even, and they made 80. There would typically be optimism that attendance would rebound over the busy holiday season, but Disney's like, nah, that ain't happening. That's not going to happen. The studio wrote, no, that's not going to happen. Even we don't believe that's going to happen. Studio wrote on us in Sunday to the press, with Marvel's box office now winding down, we will stop reporting on the international global grosses on this title. They did not want to they don't want to tell anybody how bad they're doing anymore.
But I was thinking about this. I would not go to the movies to watch this, but my Disney Plus subscription payment that I pay every month, I would watch it on Disney Plus. So do you have to start factoring in the Disney Plus subscriptions and the viewers from Disney Plus? Because I will watch it. I like the little girl that played Kamala Khan, so I will probably watch this movie. I got to talk on the radio. Hang on.
Okay, I don't know how to take the daggum picture off the screen now, so I don't know what I've done. I guess I have to do this. This is not good. All right, I guess I got to do that. Okay, so the Marvels opened November 6th with 46 million. Yeah, I don't know. You mentioned Disney Plus, Deke, and I just to let you know that my Disney Plus subscription we do it annual, and it ends in January. And the renewal came up, and every time the renewal comes up, I'm like, oh my god. So because I say to my wife, I say to my wife, Cassie, the Disney subscription's going up. And she says, okay, how much? And I said, it's going from $109 a year to $140 a year. It went up like 25%. And she said to me, okay, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of money for Disney Plus. And she said, we have kids, and the only thing they watch is on Disney Plus. And I said, I know, it's terrible.
No, you've got my mindset. You've got the dad mindset. The, oh my God, this is a lot of money for the little shit and blah, 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 blah. But I have to factor in something that I tend to forget. And the smart part of my brain smacks me every once in a while and smacks the majority bad part of my brain and says, yo, dumbass, these are your children. Would you spend $125 a year on your children to be entertained and watch some of the stuff that you have control over? You know, you have control over a bunch of it right now. As your girls, I'm warning you as a dad of older children. And when your girls get older, they will see stuff that you don't want them to see. They will hear stuff from other kids, just like me and you did. They will learn all of that stuff. All right. It's one of those facts of life now with these things, man. It is. So we as parents, I've learned, instead of trying to be, don't do that, hey, we need to talk about this. My mom would have been one to talk about it with me, but my dad would not have been one, is not one to talk about things like that. And I'm trying to be different than that with the kids, you know?
Well, for right now, they're gonna get another $140 from me, so that anytime that my kids want, they can watch Little Mermaid or Little Mermaid 2.
No, but I may have some good news for you, not wanting to spend that $125 a year. Okay, I may have some good news, and let me set this up a little bit. So last week on our show, we play one of our show titles was, and you may have seen it in the news, was Elon Musk at this little conference, the World whatever conference, I can't remember the name of it is now. He was being interviewed and he was being set up to apologize, and he was like, "Go F off, you know? Go F off, go F off." You know, I don't care. I don't want advertisers blackmailing me and whatnot. And if you will notice in there, he goes, "Hi, Bob," you know, and smiled and kept going. We know who he was waving to. He was waving and saying hi to Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney. Is who he was waving and talking to. I think JJ's you're kind of skipping out. Oh, no, maybe you're good. You're good. Okay. I was just fixing to share that. I hadn't. So anyway, Bob Iger ended up speaking on that panel as well, to the same guy. All right.
Yeah.
And this was just afterward, the Deal Book Summit, New York, last Wednesday is what it was, the Deal Book Summit. And Elon overshadowed anything that he said. And I read this over the weekend. So let me read this to you, what Bob says. Chief Executive Officer Bob Iger on Wednesday said he will no longer tolerate his company's partners and creative team prioritizing messaging over storytelling. This is what he said. Creators lost sight of what their number one objective needed to be. Iger said at the Deal Book Summit in New York Wednesday, "We have to entertain first, period. It's not about messages, period." Those are two separate sentences. That means something. It's not in one sentence. It's two separate sentences. We have to entertain first. It's not about messages. Iger has recently pushed to improve. Yeah, he's okay. Hang on. I've got my theory on this. Iger has recently pushed to improve the quality of Disney's films in 2024 and beyond. He's cutting back on the number of movies Disney makes to focus on making better films. Earlier this week, he told Disney employees at a town hall that creating hit movies is the best way that the company can change perception for investors and employees. Iger said Disney's prioritization of messaging over storytelling peaked while he was gone in 2022, alluding to the 11 months he left his job at Disney's executive chairman. Iger has been in charge of creative endeavors in 2020 and 2021, even when Bob Chapek ran the company as CEO. We have entertained with values and having a positive impact on the world in many different ways. Black Panther is a great example of that. I like being able to entertain if you can infuse it with positive messages and have a good impact on the world. Fantastic. But that should be our objective. When it came back, what I've really tried to do is return to our roots. Why do you think they're getting blowback?
Because they're bleeding money all over the place. Parents not happy with Disney, with their race swapping, gender swapping, in embedding LGBTQ, not so secret gay agenda, embedding that stuff. Parents don't like it. People are not going to their parks ever since that. And this dude keeps blaming stuff on COVID, but ever since COVID 2020, whatever, people stopped going to the parks, and then they stopped going to the parks, and then it kind of went back up again. Disney launched the Star Wars experience and whatever, and that shit cratered. People are punishing Disney for all of this messaging instead of just being just put out a fun movie and let's give something. No, it's got to be we're going to do a fun movie. let me bring this thing down. I wish this was easier to do. Let me do a fun movie and put a social message in there so that you learn something. You ignorant normal people. So they have to.
No, go ahead. You're right.
No, I mean,
right.
They won't just do what they're supposed to do, which is entertain people, make family friendly content, and by family friendly we mean 99% of most 99, whatever percent, the vast majority of families, which is moms, dads, brothers, sisters, they're not putting out content for the mass majority of people. They're putting content out for the 0.0% that of nobodies.
Well, they're saying Disney's dealt with blowbacks from Republican politicians and critics on social media for including a same-sex kiss in Lightyear from 2022, an openly gay character in 2022's Strange World, which we turned that on. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about the movie.
Oh, you didn't know about that?
And Maggie, my youngest, who's fixing to be 12, she was 11. We're watching that movie on Disney, and when it come on, I'm like, we kept watching it and whatnot. And at one point I saw Maggie looking at her phone and I'm like, do you want to watch this movie? And she's like, no, not really. And I'm like, okay, we turned it off real quick, because she didn't give a crap either. And it also says in this year's Elemental also includes a non-binary character.
Yeah.
So I have my theory.
Okay. What's your theory?
This has been coming, and I think the Disney executives have been feeling the rumblings, of this. Every once in a while, the magma will spur up here, and every once in a while, it'll spur up here. But it's been rumblings, since volcanoes are exploding all over the world. I'm going to use this analogy. There's been rumblings, and every once in a while, there will be a spew up every once in a while with somebody getting mad over here, or somebody getting mad at Lightyear, or somebody getting mad at Strange World or Elemental or whatnot. But let me tell you what the explosion was, the eruption was, and I believe. Because I saw all of the news about this, and then I decided I'm going to see this for myself. And then after I saw it, I thought, wow. And I told you to watch it. It is South Park's Pandaverse episode.
Yeah, I tried to. I tried to watch that. That's on Paramount or something. That's on Paramount.
No, it might be on our Paramount.
Yeah.
It was the Pandaverse episode from South Park. I think put so much pressure on them because of what it said, and and it says everything that we've been saying. It was just Cartman and the kids saying how stupid it is, and it was hilarious. And they straight up, Kathleen Kennedy was a main character and a main part in that multiverse pandaverse thing, because Cartman was the Kathleen Kennedy of one of the multiverses, and he's the reason why we had all that. You know, it's so funny. But I think Disney got so much pressure from that episode, and how explosive that episode was, and how everybody loved it and was making videos and all this stuff was going viral about it. I think that they were like, oh shit. And somebody that's good at chess, that's good at thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead, was like, did you see what happened to Anheuser-Busch? Did you see what happened over here? I predict some stuff happening in the future, and y'all need to listen to me. I think that's what happened. That somebody finally was like, we might need to listen to fucking Jeff with the tinfoil hat over there.
I mean, this certainly isn't anything new. I think about like 2 or 3 months ago, there was this article on Newsweek about Disney offending its audience. You remember, we mentioned it. Disney announced that they were going to have this Snow White remake, and then they were going to have, like, you know, they are going to like recast all the 7 dwarves as like these 7 whatever they are, but they're not dwarves, and they're trying to be all wokey. And a big poll from Newsweek basically found out, they took a poll of audience, and they were like, people are not happy with like this woke messaging from Disney. Big
enough
poll.
So that the Daily Wire is doing their own version of the traditional telling of Snow White, because it's royalty free, you know. It's
right.
Disney's just put their own
it's
little
like
spin
hundreds
on
of
it.
years old. So they can do their own. And
like Peter Pan.
Daily Wire,
Peter Pan, Disney doesn't own Peter Pan. Disney owns their version of Peter Pan and certain characters that they've created for that, but they don't own Peter Pan. You can do Peter Pan.
Did you know that in the wake of a Daily Wire's announcement of their Snow White version, Disney backpedaled? They digitally redrew all of their 7 weirdos as actual dwarves again, and I don't know what they're doing, but they are backpedaling. They are refilming. They are reformatting the movie. They are making an adaptation of the cartoon now.
If they don't have 7 humans with dwarfism in there, it's not worth watching. There are plenty of actors that are freaking awesome freaking actors that have dwarfism. Pick 7, please. Have an audition and pick 7. All right, because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them that are unbelievable actors. So, I
mean, like, it was like 70 years ago we did Wizard of Oz, and we gave like dozens of little people, like big, and honestly, I have great affection for that, and the great performances, and like that stuff really stuck with you. But we did that 70 years ago. But that performance, those movies, that wasn't making fun of anybody. That just was a performance that stuck with you.
That
and
was that race of
life.
People,
right?
That was that race, because I still the new Wonka movie's coming out about his adventures beforehand and when he meets the Oompa Loompas, and Hugh Grant plays the Oompa Loompas, and I'm like, okay, you want an actor, he's got a big part, and he's going to be doing this, but are the Oompa Loompas dwarfism humans, or are they humans that are little humans, you know, like Lilliputans? Lilliputans were in Gulliver's Travels were little humans,
right? Yeah, I always
so are the Oompa Loompas little humans, or are they humans that look like they have dwarfism, you know, and have?
I thought they were always manufactured by Charlie from the Chocolate Factory, whatever.
No, he found them. No, he.
All right, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he offered them jobs. Yeah.
Okay.
And safety from the Ziggly-Wumps and frickety-dickety.
So, so Disney keeps taking it rough. I got Disney adjacent.
Well,
you remember?
Okay.
Florence Pugh from the Black Widow movie. Did you watch the Black Widow movie? blonde with the blonde black widow. I think she's blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Florence Pugh had an encounter with a UFO. I don't know if you saw this or not. There was a Comic-Con down in Brazil. Yeah. Comic-Con down in Brazil this weekend. And I'm looking for the, of course, why? I'm looking for the thing. Where's the thing? Hollywood Reporter. Oh, Lord. I can't find the one to share.
Yeah, sorry, folks. This is a brand new system that we are using today for the very first time that we were forced to use at the beginning of the show. And we're trying to find where they've moved all the buttons to, and we can't find where
they've changed everything. Okay. I honestly can't find. You know what? I'm just going to do this. Oh, it says Dune for some reason. Okay, whatever. Here we go. Check it out. Florence Pugh was hit in the face by a flying object while promoting Dune Part 2 at the CCXP in Brazil.
Oh.
Poor Florence, I guess.
Okay.
Well, we don't know what it is. They said
she looks good with that short hair like that.
I think it's pulled up in like a little bun or something in the back.
Oh, okay. Well,
look, I like Florence Pugh. I haven't seen her say anything like woke or progressive or whatever. I've only ever seen her just be like, like fun or funny or just kind of like, I don't know, maybe sarcastic.
I'm waiting for this part 2 to come out before I watch part 1. I don't want to watch part 1.
Serious?
Part 2.
Well, you have plenty of time to read the book then.
Yeah, I honestly, I was thinking a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I need to go to the library and get a new book so I can sit here and read. And that was one that popped into my head. I was like, JJ loves Dune. That's always been on my want to read list. And what's up, Dragon Knight?
Good morning.
I need to read that. So I've got one here for you that.
Okay, so I figured out what to do. So.
Oh, you did?
No, I didn't. I thought I did, but I didn't know what to do. Well, you just have to keep sharing and unsharing with this new. Oh. Good job, Restream.
Sticking with our entertainment, our whole entertainment show today. Did you ever watch Supernatural?
Oh yeah, dude. Especially the early seasons. Although, there's so many seasons that are like, eventually you're like, what, 7, 8, 9? It's
so. This is what I tell people. This is what I tell people, and I just had to tell it to somebody the other day. It was one of my kids or somebody that was younger that was like, I've been told to watch Supernatural. It's good. And I'm like, and this is exactly what I tell people every time, because I've watched Supernatural all the way through 2 or 3 times at least. This is what I tell them. The first season, just stick with it. Okay. Just stick with it. Okay. I promise. Just hang in there. Okay. That's all I got to say. Just hang in there through the first season. Second season, you're like, wow. Third season, you're like, wow. Fourth season, you're like, wow. Fifth season, you're like, holy crap. And that's where the show was supposed to end. They had written 5 seasons, and the end of season 5 was the end of the Supernatural story, period. But they had 2 really good-looking guys as Sam and Dean. They were making buttloads of money, and they were like, you need to keep this going. So 13, 14 seasons later, they finally ended. So once you get past season 5, you start getting into storylines that you're like,
this is absurd.
This is okay. I'll go with you for a little bit, and then you get a couple more seasons, and you're like, it's a good premise, but you're kind of going off the rails a little bit. And then you're like, okay, I've seen this fucking stuff. I've seen this episode 15 times before. I know it's going to happen. So I love Supernatural. Don't get me wrong. But Crowley.
And this guy right here,
Mark Sheppard, he's been in a ton of stuff too. Yeah. He's a good actor.
I think he was on Battlestar Galactica. Way back in the early 2000s.
Yes, he was. He was in Battlestar Galactica. He had a series of 6 heart attacks in his kitchen the other day. He was on his way to an appointment. He collapsed in his kitchen. The 59-year-old actor wrote he had 6 massive heart attacks and was brought back from the dead 4 times before learning that he had a 100% blockage in his left anterior descending artery. Those are the ones that are called the Widowmakers.
Yeah.
Because there's not many people that survive from those. They are the Widowmakers.
Wow. And then it goes like that. It kills you just like that. If he's lucky, he got treatment.
Yeah. So there he is, Mark Sheppard. Glad that he's doing okay because he's a good actor. I like the stuff that he's in. I like Crowley, whatever. He is great in that show, and he's great because of him. He makes you hate him, despise him, and then like him. At the end of the season, you're like, man, we need Crowley. We need to go get him. You know, you need him.
He has this ability to be likable and despicable simultaneously,
and it's because of.
And it's like those people, the people. I mean, that's such an amazing gift of performance to be able to connect with the audience in such a way that you can say and do horrible, revolting things, and yet remain deeply affectionate from the audience, you know? So, I mean, amazing. I'm glad the worst didn't happen. I mean, this is the worst kind of thing that can happen in your life, really. You just die in your kitchen, have a heart attack and die in your kitchen. And I don't know how they were able to save him, but I mean, look at him in that photo. He's taking a photo from a hospital bed where he's all tubed up and they've just I don't know, run something down his artery or whatever. And he's still, I mean, he looks haggard, but he still looks better than me on my best day posing for the camera. So,
all right. Do you have anything else? Because I have a movie review.
You got a movie review? We got, I want to hear your movie review. We got the Terry Gilliam thing. We got a little bit of news about Terry Gilliam making another.
Tell me about Terry Gilliam. I love Monty Python. He's a good director. He might be a little off the rails on some of his political views, but
I mean, I honestly, especially for artists that you really love, don't look at their politics. You don't want to know what Robert De Niro thinks about anything. You don't want to know.
You will never watch a Robert De Niro movie again.
You're right. You just don't even ask. Okay. So I don't know what Terry Gilliam's politics are because I really, really love a bunch of Terry Gilliam movies. Baron Munchausen, Brazil, 13 Monkeys. I think
Fish
he did
Called
that.
Wanda.
I mean, so many movies. He's done so much ever since they ended Monty Python. He's done so much creative stuff.
Funny stuff.
So here we go. Terry Gilliam is eyeing Johnny Depp to play Satan in Carnival End of Days. Does that sound like a pitch or what? Johnny Depp, all right, I'm in. He won that case and he beat that dumb hoe. He beat the rap on that. And Terry Gilliam as Satan and Carnival at the End of Days. This sounds great. Gilliam summarized the plot as God wipes out humanity, and the only character who wants to save them is Satan, and Johnny Depp plays Satan. Theologically, no, not good. But as entertainment, it's probably going to be fascinating.
Well, depending on what the story is, because I'm getting tired, really, of all these Hollywood celebrities and musicians showing me how awesome Satan is lately. You know, that's great for you, but I'm getting sick of seeing it everywhere. Symbolism and everything. It's just most people don't see it because they're blinded by it, but I see it everywhere.
I think it taps into this fundamental human attribute of rebellion. You know, look, God made everything. God created order, and humans, we just won't do what we're told to do when we're told to do it. We just won't do it. It's wrong. We know it. So I think it just taps into that. Okay. So Terry Gilliam's got a flick coming, so we'll see that soon. All right. What do you got? What's your movie review?
So Ashley over the weekend was like, have you seen this trailer for this Lady Ballers? And I was like, oh yeah, me and JJ watched it. It's hilarious. And we were looking forward. I said, and I joked to JJ and I said, I would almost subscribe to Daily Wire just to watch that. And she goes, I am subscribed to Daily Wire. I was like, oh, you are? Oh, okay. Shit that I didn't need to know, part 28. Shit that I didn't know we paid for. Number 404.
Where's my money at? I know I get a paycheck every week, and I don't see any money in the bank.
One of the first thoughts that went through my head was like, well, I didn't know we paid for that. So anyway, I used my Daily Wire subscription that we paid for, and we watched Lady Ballers over the weekend.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. Was it overhyped or was it? What? Give us a review. What do you think?
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a thumb and a quarter up out of 2 because
Okay.
it was funny in parts. It drug. The major problem of this movie is that it felt like it was dragging. I felt like it was dragging at the beginning. It was almost hard to get through the beginning because it drug so much.
So
And
pacing is a little bit of an issue.
pacing is bad in this movie. And I don't know how to improve it because I was watching, I was like, what part could they have cut out right there? They really, you need all those parts in there, but they could have probably gotten scripted it up a little, reworded it,
tightened it up a little bit,
tightened it up a little bit. But it was a funny movie. I mean, I'm not going to tell you the premise of the movie, but you can see, what it was on the trailer. But it had a very positive ending for what it was, and it had a lot of cameos. Matt Walsh did an excellent job playing this new husband, new age lover. He had long hair, and he wore like a hippie shirt, and he was meditating.
Seriously?
Hilarious because he was sitting there meditating the first time you see it. Ashley goes, "Is that Matt Walsh?" And then when he talked, that's Matt Walsh. He's got a very distinct voice. You're like, that's Matt.
You can hear his voice.
But then at the very end of the movie, there was a little extra scene with Matt Walsh and Candace Owen that you've got to see that was hilarious. I mean, it was just a little short scene, and it wrapped up the whole movie, and it was so funny, that little ending scene. A lot of the correspondents and people from the Daily Wire were in that. Of course, the lead, the coach, the lead actor is Jeremy Boring, the CEO of Daily Wire.
Right.
So he's the basketball coach there. And it really is a good movie. It was a good movie. It just drug. The jokes were funny. The jokes, they kind of went overboard sometimes and pushed. I'm one of these people that I've told jokes on the radio for 30 years. So I've learned that you can go too long sometimes with the joke that makes it not funny. And so you have to boom, 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 and then you have to read, okay, we need to move on. And some people don't know how to read and move on, and they keep going on, and it's just like, ugh. So that's kind of what this movie did with some of these jokes. You're just kind of like, you could have left that one out, and it would have made it funnier. It was a good movie, and I recommend watching it. It was really funny. It had a good message. The guys there in the at the end, they're like, if we lose this match, we won't make it to the world championship or whatnot. And all those guys are like, I'm making it in weightlifting. Yeah, I qualified in women's swimming. Yeah, I qualified in powerlifting and women's power. So they're like, I'm going to the world, whatever. Anyway, it's just in a different sport.
Right.
But the message at the end was, do you want to take away women's sports from women? And it was his little girl who done it.
Yeah.
So as a father of daughters, you need to watch this movie because you're like, see, that's what we're saying.
She was the one kind of advocating for it. Yeah, right.
Yeah. He's like, "What? No, she was happy that her dad was embracing all this crap because she's been brainwashed. And he has to make this decision at the end.
And
it's
he got
like,
on board.
Am I going to do this am I being selfish and doing this for me to try to prove everybody else wrong? Or do I really need to do it for her? Am I going to save her and make a hard decision for her? And then he ends up doing something completely different at the end that makes up. It's got a really good ending. It's got a really good ending.
All right.
Really good.
All right.
So I like Lady Ballers.
That's good.
Pacing,
but you get overall, look, comedy. The thing about jokes, especially, is like if something is very, very funny to you, it can be hard to let go of that. But the truth is, if you want to make something that's truly hysterical, you have to be willing to cut stuff that doesn't work. Which is why the funniest comedians workshop their shit in nightclubs or whatever, and they test bits out, and they're like, that stuff's funny to them, but if other people don't laugh, you gotta be willing to let it go and cut it. And it can be hard for a movie to have to have two kind of masters, right? For the movie to be a comedy and also have a message, if you're gonna like insist on having the message, you might lose some funny, or
Yep.
So or the other way, if you insist on being funny, it may be hilarious, and it may just end up kind of advocating for some awful, horrible things. So, all right, well, that's good. I'm glad you watched that. I'm glad. I look forward to seeing. I've seen some other Daily Wire films. They had a superhero flick that was really good. Every once in a while they put when they launch a movie, they do like 12 hours on YouTube for free or something like that. So I've seen a couple of their films, and they had this superhero movie that was very not Wes Anderson, the other guy, the other Anderson. It was very Anderson type of superhero flick. All right. We got anything else? Any other good news? We're just straight not talking about bad news today.
Yeah. No, let me look at my secret stash. I had
you got an AI story, right?
No, I got several AI stories. We can do that next tomorrow if you want to.
All right. Well,
I just want to bring this up real quick. It is the first full November. Christmas is just around the corner. Christmas is a time where a lot of people will put a tree up and decorate the tree with all kinds of beautiful decorations, and then they will tell everyone how much they mean to them, but by giving them gifts and expressing love and whatnot. And that is a normal, traditional Christmas celebration. But we tend to overlook this time of year that is also the season of Festivus. Festivus is the complete opposite of Christmas. We don't decorate a tree. We put up a plain metal pole, and instead of telling everyone how much we love them, we complain and incite our grievances that we don't like about everyone every year. Festivus was first celebrated on one episode of Seinfeld back in the early 90s by George's dad there, Jerry Stiller. Is George's dad standing next to Kramer there.
Yeah.
And Jerry Stiller was one of the funniest men alive to me in that show as George's dad. He is so funny. He cracks me up. And this episode is so funny with the Festivus episode. And everybody loved it so much that everybody started celebrating Festivus years ago. So I just wanted to bring up that Festivus is here. So
people are actually doing that.
Yeah, if you want to complain about someone, feel free. If you want to complain about me, come over to our Discord server.
Where is a great place to complain is right here.
And tell me how much that you...
Or in our comments. All right. Deke, it's joke time at the end of our show, as is our tradition and obligation as dads. We have to tell dad jokes. So I got one for you.
Okay.
Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
Why do lobsters never give to charity?
I don't remember this one, but I've heard this one before. I just don't remember it.
Because they're shellfish.
They're shellfish. That's right. They're shellfish. Where's my little freaking here?
Yeah. Dave, if you got a joke, put it in the chat and you bring it up on screen.
All right. So you know, but everybody else might not know that I have 5 children. Uh-huh. And one of my daughters asked me, we were talking about getting something to eat and going out to eat the other day. And she said, hey, we should go to get breakfast at IHOP because kids are free. And I was like, darling, I got enough damn kids. I don't need any more. Yeah. Oh, hang on.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, folks. That's going to be it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We will have all of these bugs worked out for sure this time tomorrow. 8 o'clock, rumble.com/JJW.
It's not true.
Bye.
Don't listen to him.
Oh, look, we're on screen.